open the Rules and Legislative Committee. All the members are present and accounted for, and if you don't mind, John Carney, would you say the prayer?
Mighty God, we thank you for this time of deliberation and discussion. We ask that we could be beneficial, be civil. We pray for this community. Simply ask you.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of March 21st, 2023 Rules and Legislative Committee minutes. And of course, the ones that were sent was lacking a page, and they were reissued, and so that's the ones we're approving, the full minutes that were sent.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The next item is consideration of placing the April 11th, 2023 Commission minutes on the May 9th, 2023 County Commission agenda.
Make a motion, we place those on the commission agenda without a recommendation.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next item is consideration of placing the notary applicants on the May 9th, 2023 County Commission agenda as requested by County Clerk Donna Thomas.
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The Veterans Report for March was in our packet. There were 66 veterans that were transported to the VA hospitals, and there were 82 visits. So it looks like it's picked up, I think. And he said he was going to go on to a meeting, and Mike Bruce may be out. He's not here to give us any other update, but there's a motion to approve. Okay.
Second.
There's a second. Any questions? Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The next is a clinic report. The medical side, they saw 117 patients. On the dental side, I think they saw 42 patients. And again, it's the same volunteer doctors that are doing it, Dr. Lula, Dr. Talbot, the physician volunteers, and Dr. Gray's a dental volunteer. Of course, this is just for our own information. Oh, great.
In September, so if anybody's interested, we're going to sell tickets for it. It'll be a fundraiser.
Did you say September?
September the 9th.
20 years, wow.
I know, it don't seem like it's been that long.
No. Shocked me. Yeah, I think it's just for our information, and we don't prove that, do we?
No.
Benny?
No.
Okay, the ag report, I think we had an ag center from February. You may have met probably met again since then.
Yeah.
You can bring us on up with the April meeting?
Basically where we're at is we are getting the lights in building 2. We're halfway finished with them, getting those LEDs in there. That's gonna be really, really nice. So that's already going. I think it's almost finished actually. So that's gonna be a nice addition out there when we get that finished.
Did you have new members this month?
The mayor's gonna put it up.
Oh, okay.
And we've got 2 retiring, so I've sent to the mayor a request to
Okay,
put some people on here. So I had 2 get off. One of them was Sam Jacobs.
Sam.
He left Shelby Police Department. And also had Mr. Robert Johnson, also retired. So there'll be 3 coming forward to be off the next meeting. And we'll get the board finished that way. But I thank the guys in the minutes here. And I want to thank all these boards out here. It is so hard anymore to get people to serve on these. It is difficult. People want to know what's it pay. Well, it doesn't pay anything. And I just want to thank my guys and all the people out there that serve on these boards, because these boards are so helpful to us. And thank everybody that serves on them. And the problem is, a lot of people are getting older and they're getting off the boards, and getting young people involved seems to be something that's hard to do. But thank you to everyone who serves on these boards.
Robert or George?
Robert Johnson.
Okay, it's got George,
I'm sorry.
but it's Robert. Okay.
Yes, it's Robert Johnson, Michael, my secretary, met to it. It's not George.
Okay.
George is still on there, but Robert.
Okay, okay. But-
Robert's retired from everything, just like Sam. When you retire, you want to kind of get off stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
What district? What was his name? Ray Roberts? Could you text me his phone number at some point, and I'll give him a call? I might have another one here soon, I don't know yet. I hope not, 'cause it's hard to fill these
Dropping
things.
like flies there, Bill.
I'm telling, well, it's just, they've been on there a while, and they just decide that, And another thing that was tough on all these boards, when COVID happened and you didn't have to go to the meeting, a lot of people got used to, I don't have to go to the meeting anymore, because I've been on there a long time and used to, I've never had a problem getting a quorum until COVID, and then since COVID, it becomes, well, I can skip it this month. Well, that's just changed things, and again, I want to thank everybody on these boards, because it's very helpful, and my guys especially, and I thank them at this meeting for it as well.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the report.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Okay, the next item is the Joint Homeless Task Force agenda, and minutes were enclosed, and Commissioner Cooker?
Yes, sir, and thank you for that. I'm just been very excited at the progress we've been able to make at the Joint Task Force. Last meeting, the minutes will be coming next month in your packet. But basically what we talked about at that last meeting was starting the process of working with the community clinic, working with two nonprofits, the Healing Trust and also Family and Children Services out of Nashville, to look at creating a situational crisis center or a central hub for these nonprofits across the city. We have a meeting next month scheduled with all those groups, along with the mayor, to be able to sit down and come up with a process of how we're going to be able to put that together. I think it's great steps to be able to have a safety net for all of these individuals that are homeless in our community, as well as the poverty stricken. It really gives them a resource center to be able to do that. One of the things we identified that a lot of these homeless don't have is addresses. And so because of that, they can't get their benefit checks. And so this center would help them get a place for them to be able to do their homeless, or their veterans benefits or unemployment benefits, or those type things, to be able to start the process of getting them transition. The other thing that we're working on as well is we're working on some language to be able to present to both this committee as well as the city council. That would be an ordinance with anti-loitering and anti-camping. It's going along with several ordinances that come from the West Coast. We're looking at some of the language in those. Basically, what we're going to be doing is just making recommendations of some parameters that would be nice, and then allow both county attorney and city attorney to review that, to be able to come up with maybe some ordinances. We've also found some cities that are your local, Athens, Tennessee, as well as Hendersonville, have also drafted some things that are similar to that, that will be presented to both groups as well. So hopefully that will be coming next month. So we're very excited at the progress we're making, and just very excited at the group and what they've done. Most of them have attended most every meeting, and just the conversation, the group, input from the community. We're having about 30 to 35 members of the community in there as well. And just the overall conversation, you can tell it's a hot button issue, but more importantly, it's an issue that everybody sees something that we can get to a resolution at some point, or at least work towards that. So I'm very excited with the group, and thank y'all for letting us go forward with it.
One question, we don't do ordinance in the county, we do resolutions. The city would do the ordinance, so make sure when you have that discussion, make sure the defining difference is there, so it applies in equal
Yeah,
portion there.
absolutely, and we're really not making a specific recommendation, we're just wanting to give parameters, and we'll let
Got it.
the county attorney come up with the right language.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or discussion? Place gonna come to fruition, at least we're talking about it, discussing it, and trying to resolve some issues, and they're not easily done either, as we've already found out. Okay, you don't have to prove that, do we? It's just for our information.
Yes, I think you're correct, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, under old business, a resolution to amend the zoning resolution of Bedford County, Tennessee. It's been deferred for 2 or 3 months, I think.
Yep.
Still in that situation, isn't it?
Yep.
Commissioner Anderson,
Correct.
so we just
Defer
gonna,
it again.
Yep.
okay, so is it motion
Yeah,
deferred?
motion to defer.
Okay, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, new business, there's been a request, for for a distance road reconsideration. Bedford Market, Sun Chasers Market, and Hall's Mill Market have submitted a petition to support their request to change the distances to sell beer in the county to 0 feet. The petition states Bedford County currently does not allow any businesses within 2,000 feet of a church, school, or public gathering place to sell beer. To compete and thrive in the community retail hubs, we would like the county commission to change the current statute to match that supported in the city of Shelbyville. The petitioners further state this change would provide additional tax revenue for the county through both retail and tourism growth, and demonstrates support for local small businesses and community hubs by allowing them to compete.
I think, Ms. Strossner, would you like, you want to speak on that? If that's okay with you, Mr. Chairman?
No, that'd be fine. If y'all want to speak first, we'll.
So thank you again for the consideration on this. I know it's been something that you guys have been talking about. I did a quick handout. I apologize. I did not bring enough Walker County commissioners. I did not realize we would have such a outstanding turnout tonight. I'm going to walk you guys through a couple of things. My tagline tonight, or our tagline as a group, is really enable us to compete and contribute. Hi, you guys. Yeah. So I'm going to say a couple words and I'm going to turn it over to the other two businesses here. And it's not that much different than what I said last time. As a small business, it's really hard to do business these days. And I had numerous people come up to us after the last meeting and say, hey, it's not just about the rural communities. You look up in the square, we've had several people kind of flip businesses too. It's really hard for anyone who's trying to stay in business right now. So no one's looking at small businesses. A lot of the work that I think we're doing between the partnership and other areas are looking at bringing big business in. So here's an opportunity for you guys to help support the small businesses in the area. And protect and support the rural hub. We hear rural, rural, rural every time we're talking about the land use plan, anything that's coming with planning and zoning. How do we keep rural, rural? Make sure rural small businesses can stay there and compete. And I call that out because I've seen the growth happening around us in several areas. Right by Hall's Mill, all the new houses that are going out there, there's new people that can kind of infuse new life into the market, into these areas. But we have to be able to support them in the lifestyle that they're used to when they're coming from some of the other communities. So help us compete. And my last part is contribute. If you think about everything that's been going on about property taxes versus real tax, we have an opportunity here where if you let us do our business, we can help contribute to the county revenue line, or the county income line. And so I did a quick example for what happens in Sun Chaser, right? So today, if someone wants to come through, they're probably going to go pick up 2 sandwiches, bag of ice, maybe a big bag of chips, which is up to $5 these days. And if they bought a 12-pack of beer, they're probably going to spend about $36 with us. That was my first one, for those of you who haven't known. So that's $36. $3.51 would go to the sales tax. A lot of that comes into the county, some percentage of it, some of it goes to schools. But when you actually remove that, if you can't sell the 12-pack of beer with it, that sale in my store goes over the county line. All that sales tax goes into Moore County. Not only sales tax, but the beer tax. So it's just walking out of the county and being somewhere else. So that's where I think if we had the opportunity to sell beer, we would contribute more. I tried to do some rough math. I did one of those a day. If I had one sale like that a day, I would say, it's not a lot, but it's $87 a month. $87 a month, it would be, if I did it for a whole year, it's another $1,000 a month, which would be potentially helpful. If you do 5, right, you guys are, some of the commissioners are worried that we're gonna sell a lot, right? It'll be the beer joints. If you did only 5, just 5 in a month, it gets you up to $5,000. We start contributing and adding into what would be chipping away at property taxes, chipping away at sales tax. The other thing I did was to look at beer tax. I reached out to one of the local distributors who actually supports Brass Market. And I gave them the 6 addresses that were going to handout. I said, hey, just do some market analysis. If you were to go in and start selling your product in these areas, what do you think the value would be? They came back and they estimated that they would probably each grow would add $10,000 to $15,000 of revenue or income into the sales pipeline.
you that some will have, in your area, was like the concerts, the entertainment, not just beer sales, but some of that would give church right there close to you. Are you still a go for that? Because it's, they'll show up. And they'll be against beer sales. And I know that was a pretty hot topic whenever, right there across the street, you have the entertainment, you got the church right here. Whereas like Chuck at Hall's Mill, I've talked to a lot of folks out there, they can care less. So I think Hall's Mill, Beverly Market, would pretty much be non-controversial, but you get this Church of Christ, with Sun Chasers, that's probably where the contention's gonna be.
I would encourage, if we think that it's my district, my area, that we do something and try to get that feedback.
Right.
I hear all the
We'll get that
time,
feedback.
I hear all the time when people come in that it's changing, people are more excited about it,
Right.
right? And we're in a weirdly interesting, is a world, right, where things are changing.
You know, that it was a touchy spot.
I agree, and I will also say, we had several, there was a meeting before the one that was a beer meeting. We had several people who were leaders in the community show up.
Right.
So the timing was, we had them show up on our behalf beforehand, not the public meeting, I think they were showing up.
Well, I hope so. That group is gonna, they're not gonna stop.
Yeah.
That's your group. Chuck out here, they would love for you guys to stay there.
And I appreciate the fact that you're saying that, bringing that up so that we know how to kind of.
Because it will be geographical, and it's like, well, I'm fair this and this, what you can't do, Hall's Mill, Beverly Market, and not Sun Chasing, that's not fair.
Right.
And I had some good ideas, but, I think that's still gonna be controversial with that church.
In January,
Yeah.
But we
Just a heads
heard,
up. Oh,
no,
they
we've
will
heard
come.
people
They're
say
coming.
that they would support us, and depending on how you guys approach, go through this, we'll make that happen at that time.
Just some questions of clarity. So it states church, school, or public gatherings, those three locations that it restricts. Is there any ability to remove one or the other, or is it this or no?
Here's what you got. In 1933, they passed this bill during the middle of Prohibition. And it basically says you couldn't sell beer for 3 miles. Then they modified it in 1951. And then in 1962 or so, they came back and said, well, you counties can set the beer distance. If you decide not to set the distance to sell beer, you'll automatically revert to 2,000 feet. In 1984, July 7th, 1984, this commission approved accepting the 2,000-foot rule. It has been in existence since 1984 for Bedford County. So what we have to do, and I don't mean to jump on this, is this commission has to sit down and have this discussion. And we have to decide, what do we want to do on this? Leave it the same, don't do anything, make it 0, make it 50 feet, 300 feet, whatever. So what I was going to suggest, if it's okay, Mr. Chairman, with you, I'm going to suggest that we come back next month. And when we come back next month, all 3 applicants need to go see Chris White back there and tell us exactly how much distance you're going to need that meets the criteria there. So is it 100 feet from the church or public school or gathering spot? Is it 300 feet, whatever? So we know what 3 of them. And then, Chris, if you would come in next month and kind of explain to us how that historic village concept works, does this fit into that zoning category with anything? And then help us understand the planning tools we already have adopted that handle beer joints, because that's, Troy just Mr. Thompson hit the nail on the head with that. People don't really have that much concern to take out. What they got a problem with is everybody sitting there and drinking beer. So if we've got a tool in planning, will you bring that to us next month, Mr. White? And then let's ask the chairman of the beer board. I know you've weighed in heavily and we really need your input, but I think is Lisa Carden, the chairman? Maybe we invite Lisa to come in here so she can address questions Commissioner Hooker have or anybody else has on that. And then if you will give us some kind of economic impact. This is a good start. Call the Malt Beverage Association. They will tell us exactly what the beer sales are in Bedford County and in surrounding counties. That'll kind of give us an idea.
If someone can help me frame what they want in that
Okay.
question, I'd be happy to take that.
Okay, okay. So,
And from everybody I've talked to, they all want to just sell it to go. Nobody's trying to serve it, the people that I've talked to, but, you know, does that, if they check the blank, does that give them permission to do both?
and that's what Commissioner Thompson was explaining. When you check the box, you get both in there. It's
Right.
not a onesie-twosie. If the legislature would make the change, and that's our problem, but they're not going to do that. So if you get a permit to sell, you also have the ability to consume. Now,
As long as you check that box,
Well,
on your permit.
check the box on your product. So Kroger's doesn't want anybody drinking beer in there, they sell it to go. Dollar General doesn't want anybody
Right.
there, they sell it to go. They don't exercise that option, but the option would be there should they choose that, if they check the box in the application. So I think that we, as a commission, and I think the chairman has made it clear over the 5 years I've been on here, that we're not gonna move in a hurry on stuff. We're gonna let everybody talk, let everybody weigh in, let everybody have an opinion. So I don't think we're slowing it down. We're just trying to get everybody involved with this whole process. So that's, if that's okay with it, okay.
So I do want to answer your question because I did reach out to CPAC. And so I would love for someone to double check. You can just, if the intent would be to protect schools, you can go in and say, hey, drop church, or drop that resolution and institute a new resolution that just does public, of the public domain. You can do that. You guys as a position have the opportunity to do that, to change the amendment the way you want. My second comment is, when I would look at the state legislature, I heard that comment about the doing the checkbox, I took a look at it. I believe in June or July, whenever they're gonna go for it, they're gonna make all the takeout places. We're free from COVID, that they can sell to go. That'll be legal now. COVID's gone, but that'll be a legal sale. So now you have even more, and no offense fighting against this, because anyone can go to a restaurant in town and get a Go Cocktail or a margarita, and we still can't compete in that space, and we're trying to sell meals as well. That's just my other anecdotal
So
comment.
you did hear from CTAS that we did separate out those two?
So, yes.
Not the two applications, you're
Not
talking
the two
about
No,
applications.
I'm talking about
You-
schools.
schools.
But we could drop the
We-
schools.
Yeah.
We can do
I-
that.
Again, I would encourage someone to check.
And that's the
my work.
concerns I get from
I
my
get it.
constituents is even less about churches, more about the
School.
schools. So that's a question that, that we need to talk
Yeah.
about.
And this potential new location here at 170 Bell Buckle Road would be right in front of Cascade Elementary School, correct? Now, I remember when he went for the zoning, we all told him, just know you can't sell beer,
Yeah.
there's a school.
And that's why I put these three on, because I.
Well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
But for the three that I know, if these are the, I think there's one more in Unionville, and I don't know what location it
Yeah.
is. That
Okay.
may be in this scope of work anyway.
Well, I thank you for putting that on there, I'm thinking about that one as well.
I have a class, what is other public places in this quote?
They define, this, the legislature defines that. They've even tried to say that cemeteries could be a public gathering place, and it could be baptismal pools, but
However, right, that's one thing, you guys have so much latitude to address that with zoning too. Between the combination of what you're doing in those areas and whatever you want to be more specific about with the next round of the language, you can.
I've got the CTAS report here on what we can and can't do. And I have also, I made a copy of our resolution that we had for our historic zoning, historic villages concept. But I think, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we just move this to next month in hopes that they will bring all this information in here, and so we can have it, and we're gonna discuss it next month. And I think next month, that will give us sufficient time to have had last month, this month, that's 90 days worth of discussion on this. If people have got any more questions, and if anybody's got, if we can do that, I think that gives us sufficient time having discussed this before we make a decision to send it to the commissioner.
My only, and I love the approach, and I do want to give these other folks an opportunity to speak, would be, I think you're setting that up for the June meeting, which would be the commission meeting after that. And just knowing what everything is going on, is that the right timing for it? That's my only, after being through the process, that's a lot for you guys to
Anybody else want to speak on that? We'll decide when we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to speak?
We need to find out what distance we each needed. Everybody's different. That's why we're asking.
You want us to just, you want to know exactly the distance between the church, like for all, no, would you like us to
Yes,
come back and say
give-
this is how many exact?
Exactly. Mr. White's office can prepare that so that we know what Mr. White's office has said and not what everybody else thinks. So we got an official instrument here that gives us that distance. That'll help us as we,
Measuring from.
well, Mr. White can tell you that.
Well, normally we need to do building, but, based on just my observation of Black Creek and all that, I don't know that any distance would make much sense because, you're so close, you're so close, I mean, what would be the point of setting it at 6 feet?
Right.
Problems there. I think the actual verbiage in the state law is making it something specific. So I think the way you can interpolate that would be places where people would actually assemble for some purpose, not necessarily places where people would gather. I'm pretty sure that's the word.
Public gatherings. I'm fixing to read it. Go through. Anyone else like to
We're just
speak?
asking for a fair thing.
Sure.
That's all. We're not trying to.
Well, we all want you to compete, and we all want you to be a tribute to your community, but this issue's pretty big. It's a little bit bigger than that. Anybody else like to speak in the audience? Okay, we've discussed this several times. Last time was November of 2020, when it came up. Again, we'll read. It's Tennessee Code Annotated 57-5-105, and you can look it up. It's Tennessee Code Annotated in a lot of places. And there's a lot of areas, there's 3 as it says, but I'm gonna go on down to number 1, and you can read it all. I'm just gonna read what basically we apply. No beer will be sold except at places where such sale will not cause congestion of traffic. So there could be a traffic issue in any of those places. I know there is. If there's not much parking, and you got a major highway running by, and they're going 55 miles an hour or 45, then that's a consideration, safety. Or interference with schools, churches, other places of public gathering. Now that's lends itself, and we've already questioned that. What does that mean, public gatherings? Does that mean when they go to the post office to gather their mail? Is that a public gathering? I don't think so, but I don't know. Of course, as Commissioner Yaki said, I think it's certainly community centers and maybe some more places in rural areas that meet could come under gathering places. I know at Black Creek, they have a community center there, and they meet every month. It's a big shindig out there. It's a good thing. Or otherwise interfere. This goes further. Public safety, public health, and morals. And we haven't mentioned any of those yet. It also deals with, this statute deals with public health, safety, and morals. So churches do have a stance here. The county legislative body having the right to forbid such storage, sale, or manufacture at places within 2,000 feet, which that's extreme of such places of public gatherings in its discretion. And it goes on, and that's not all of it. Now, I had one of my real estate friends pull up the markets, so I've already got written down, and this is diagonal across, and it's pretty close. I'd say it's in a foot or two of being correct. You go from market to market to churches. All of them are churches are problems with all 3 areas. Bedford Market is 81 feet. Going diagonal across to there's a Baptist church, I believe, right in front of you, isn't it? And across the highway, it's 81 feet. Okay, it's 81 feet. Sunchaser Market, the realtor did this, pulled it up. He thought it was 91 feet. It's 90 feet across to it. Hall's Mill Market was 259 feet. So there's a little more distance between that. There's a residence between that and the Lutheran church there. And again, you have to worry about those, but we've already got the distances. That's in the ballpark there. Bedford Market's 81 feet. It might be a few inches off, but it's not much. Sun Chasers Market's 91. Hall's Mill Market is 259 from churches. All of those were measured from churches. Now, when you look at that statute, it gets into other churches. I mean, if you pass it here, then it brings in the old market there, Community Cash Market. It brings in 2 or 3 other markets. It brings in markets that could be adjacent and across from Community High School, from Community Elementary and Intermediate School, certainly both schools at Cascade, and also Liberty. And that's as much concern as any. And I guarantee you, we don't want markets selling beer, or certainly not open container with a bar and grill at any of those places close to schools. And 2 years ago, I checked on the buses. There's 75 bus routes in this county. And they make 2 routes. They make a morning run, AM, and a PM afternoon run. And those buses, I don't know how many go by these markets or not, but they do go by some of the others that it could affect. So we've got to think about this. These 18 commissioners have got to consider all of the county, not just 3 markets. And it does involve the schools, and there's a couple of markets that's butted right up to schools. And if they can check one box and the other box, then that could be a very critical problem. Now, last time, Times Gazette does a church directory. Last time I got one from them was in fall of 2016. There's 131 churches listed in that one, and that's not close to all of them. I know there's a number of signatures on this petition, but if you get the churches involved, it's going to be more than that. Churches can get a number of petitions signed, and I don't know if that's important or not. I mean, the question is safety in mind. It's public health, safety, and I think there's some morals in there somewhere because it says so in the statute. So it's fine. I think we can keep discussing it. I think it's a great idea to keep discussing it and get more feedback and to get more information. And, I'm sure as Mr. Thompson already mentioned, I guarantee you get the churches involved, and particularly the Church of Christ, they'll get people sign petitions. They'll go all over the county and get them. So trust me, and this is not, we're not going to, petitions don't hold, they hold some water, but not much. You still got to be concerned with those 3 things: public health, safety, and morals. And that's where it lands for me. And we're affecting the whole. When you go to 0 distance, it affects the whole county. It's going to affect both of those schools. In community, it's going to affect 1, maybe 2 at Cascade, and could eventually affect Liberty. And I don't think any of us, coming from the school side, which I taught school for 20 years and was administrator for 14, want any type of beer sold next to schools. And that's what's going to happen if it goes to 0 property. That's not the 0 line. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Because I think there's a way to protect the schools and still support the small businesses and encourage us to look through options for that. And secondly, are you saying, Chairman, are you saying you'd like us to bring support to the meeting next month?
No.
Okay.
No.
Just want to make sure, if you need, if there's a sense that we need to have support in this meeting.
No, I'm just saying that the churches could, they could have petitions as well. We don't need more petitions. This is, well, they can do what they want to. Okay, is it, Commissioner?
Well, I'll make a,
Just gonna clarify, 143 churches as of 2026.
Okay, so we know there's a few more now.
Yeah,
Okay.
and some of those may have closed.
Okay, so
They
there's
open and close.
143. Yes, sir.
How long has the city been at 0?
I don't have a clue. You just looked up city ordinance.
Is there any major incidents or anything that happened when they moved?
I can comment, I work for the city, Parks and Rec.
Okay, yes, sir.
The be it on the agenda, nobody showed up.
Mr. Chairman, I got a motion on the floor that we take this up again next month.
That'd be good. The
I'll
second?
second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All,
So we need to get all the information next month and bring that back and
And we'll discuss it
and
again.
discuss it. And we can look at dropping the schools. I mean, we can do that. We need to get John T. to weigh in on what. doing that.
Okay, well, there, I do have some announcements that, I think Saturday, the Middle Tennessee Spay and Neuter is, I think you can get vaccinations and microchips put in your pets and all that. It's right there on Union Street, so, they're having a thing. The library's having a, book sale, I think, a week from today, for Friends of the Library, having a book sale. I think that's next Tuesday on the 25th. And this month, Celebration City Car Club's gonna start their, cruise in up on the public square. And then I think the Fly Arts, some of y'all involved with Fly Arts Center, they're gonna have an indoor yard sale where they're renting out table space to sell, try to generate money, to keep the Fly Arts Center open. So if you've got some sale and this and that, you may wanna look at that. I think that's the first weekend in May. That's May the 6th, so that's some of the things that are coming up in the, I mean, any other announcements or any other? I mean, yeah, well,
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
All right, good deal.
somebody-